It's true, I've been banned. Me and several small businesses are suffering the same insurmountable fate. The audacity of giant corporations. The inhumanity of, well, Facebook blocking and advertising. And this is just messed up. I'm the JumpCutKing, and this is the Create Podcast. I started a business about a year and a half, maybe 2 years ago, and I started on my own full-time, and it's been going well. But there's been one thing that's just been eating me alive, and that's Facebook. Long story short, I found out that I got banned from Facebook advertising in December, but had gotten banned in March. And the reality is, well, let's just say it's been a tough couple of years trying to maneuver advertising and trying to figure out which platforms to use, especially since platforms like LinkedIn are 3 times more expensive, and platforms like Google Ads is kind of like throwing pennies and dollars at the midair and hoping some dove somewhere is going to land on your webpage and actually click on it. Well, okay. It takes a lot of what we call optimization for you to be able to optimize your experience and, more importantly, be able to, sell things, get prospects, get clients, that kind of thing. One of the platforms I'm more familiar with is Facebook, now called Meta, I guess, across their entire platform. You have Facebook, you have Instagram, you have Meta. And I used that platform to advertise multiple times beforehand and had some relative success. In fact, it's something I know fairly well. Okay, it's changed since I've been banned, but here's how I got banned. And then later I'll tell you the secrets on how I got unbanned. To the best of my knowledge, I did absolutely nothing to make Facebook despise me. In fact, I'm almost to say that I feel like Facebook was targeting me. They weren't, and I'll make a long story short. I work for a nonprofit, which is also a religious organization, which is also a church, and they're a worldwide nonprofit. And so I work for them on an Easter weekend, and during Easter, I usually work 100 to 200 hours a week. I mean, I cram everything there, and that's weeks and weeks and weeks leading up to Easter. And so apparently a notification may or may not have shown up on my Facebook applications, but because Facebook has a lot of data privacy issues, I don't actually have any of the Facebook apps installed except Instagram. And I never got a notification from Instagram. In fact, during that time, I had gotten rid of all social media because of, well, it was just safer for my sanity because people after COVID got crazy. In any event, so I had to check that regularly. Well, I may have seen it, maybe I didn't see it, I don't know. Never got an email, never got a notification, didn't get anything. And according to the new policy, all enacted from COVID, that I had 90 days to re-verify. Facebook revised their entire platform's terms of service to include this new verification method. Why, you might ask? I'll get to the why in just a little bit, but we're going to continue with my story. I leave off to build my platform and begin coding and begin coming up with new clients and begin the arduous process of sales. And to be honest, sales is like that weird mythical thing that exists that no one understands and people pay a lot of money for, and people you pay a lot of money for actually don't understand it at all. And it's actually really simple, but only when it clicks. And until it clicks, you're knocking on doors, making phone calls, and frankly, I ain't doing that. So I went to advertising. Build a campaign, build a single landing page, direct traffic to that campaign, and get traction. The goal of getting people to purchase these packages, purchase marketing consulting, or purchase web development inside the Universe platform, and grow and expand that way. Spent a lot of time on this, weeks, months, probably, if you were to do the calculation, thousands of dollars of my time, because, everyone has an hourly cost. Even I do. Anyway, so I built this single page, curated it, designed it, integrated with Stripe, integrated payment processing, updated it, and integrated the platforms. And to be honest, it was a long, arduous process. And it took me a while. Then I was ready. Campaign was built. Now I'm gonna set it up to start getting clients. Great. Open up Facebook, go to their ads manager, and realize the new campaign button has vanished. Okay. Somehow I found a page where it existed, clicked it, and it said, you got banned. It said, your account is restricted. Clicked on, went over to the business profile and found out it wasn't just my account, but apparently all of my pages associated with Facebook were all restricted from advertising because of something, and I didn't know what it was. If you don't have more than one admin on your business pages right now, billing admin or administrative component, you could lose permanent access to advertising for you failing to follow the Facebook terms of service. It's facts. In fact, I know a client that has dealt with this problem a lot. In fact, it's a common small business problem for Facebook to just deactivate advertising and just deactivate your access. It's a common problem. Before I get into the long story of what happened and everything I went to do to figure it out, let's talk about why. I'll be honest. The inner cynic in me, the paranoid person, the person who God is transforming, and even though I'm not afraid of much, I do have that inherent fear that someone somewhere is always trying to get one up on me. And so I thought in my mind, Facebook hated my platform, or maybe Facebook is just against small businesses, or whatever. That's not the case. Although they do have a lot of small business accounts that have had this happen, and I strongly recommend someone from Facebook go and look into this. I'll let them know that to Google, if you miss a verification window, they'll suspend your account, but they won't terminate your access. They give you the ability to reactivate your access almost instantly. It might be scrutinized a little bit, but they give you the ability to reactivate your access. And Facebook doesn't follow that industry standard, or what I consider industry standard, because it works. They chose not to do it. So if you get restricted, or you miss a verification window, or you miss any notification from Facebook, don't miss a notification from Facebook. Check everything. It's very important. Otherwise, you could be just like me and in Facebook's doghouse, or the Facebook Witness Protection Program. Me, Facebook, we're at odds. And so I thought, after I interviewed a bunch of clients and, let's do Facebook ads, let's do that. Well, I got banned from Facebook. I did this, I did that. And it became a very common problem in my line of work of seeing people who got banned from Facebook. I shouldn't be surprised, because Facebook, to be honest, is a little confusing, and their terms of service is a long read. I mean, multiple hours of reading. Yes, I try my best to read it and understand it, and without a legal professional, I don't know if I'm not that good at understanding it. But, my understanding of legal profession has grown over the years since I started a small business, which I'm moving to a corporation. But in any event, whole long story short, Facebook has always been plagued with spam, fraud, or nefarious activity. Why, might you ask? It's very simple. Facebook is easy to use, user-friendly, and there are billions of people registered on Facebook. In fact, every month they have, all these new users adding accounts, creating pages, creating posts, and it's Instagram, WhatsApp, Facebook, an entire ecosystem designed to help people connect and to be interest-based media. Oh yeah, social media is no longer a thing. We're now interest-based media with social media add-ons that help boost your algorithm. So go ahead right now, like, comment, and share, and boost the algorithm, and let the algorithm know that you love my content. And if you don't worry, I won't put you in the penalty box like Facebook did me. They have an ability for you to use APIs, for you to use Chrome, for you to use a version of Chromium called Puppeteer that allows you to write Node.js and do random things. And you can use robots, you can use crawlers, and you can use Python scripts. And it's not that difficult to do anything on the internet. In fact, people consider hacking is not difficult. In fact, now with artificial intelligence, you can literally use agents and say, do this, and they find a way to do it. Some successfully, but you just have to mash your keyboard a couple times, and it'll eventually thoughtfully analyze the situation and produce a result that kind of sort of works, and you modify it and you're good to go, versus spending months and years trying to develop a script to do something. So that's that. And millions of spam artists out there are finding new and creative ways to take your information, take advantage of you, to get your social security number, to get your credit card information, to steal from you, and do all nefarious things. especially because Facebook has a whole lot of data on you. So it's easy for someone to go in and social engineer a concept. Yes, it's not that difficult for someone to say, take my voice and say, hey, this is the JumpCutKing calling. I have been kidnapped. Please send me $1 million. Chances are I've not been kidnapped. Please don't send that $1 million. But if you have a spare $1 million, please send it to me. The information's on your screen right now. Okay, it's not. It's very easy for actors and nefarious actors to go in, create advertising, and create things that funnel you to what looks like legit websites, and in reality, they're worthless. In fact, they don't sell the products that you want, and these nefarious actors create single landing pages that look great, feel great, great testimonies, and convince you, but if you're not paying attention to the small things like missing a comma, or missing a punctuation mark, you'll enter your information, or worse, you'll be tricked to enter your information, login information, using phishing, and they'll get access to your bank accounts and all sorts of stuff, all because you clicked on an ad on Facebook. Why is this a problem? Well, let's talk about the pandemic. Pandemic happens. We're not going to go into details, except now everyone is at home, either broke because they can't work and or working endless hours because they want to make sure that every single person around me that was employed for the organization still has a job. Hackers begin to develop, and AI begins to develop at an extraordinary rate, and eventually people start using Facebook ads. It's the easiest way to get people to click on something if you can clickbait them, rage bait them, or whatever you want to call it, and eventually get you to complete a transaction on a nefarious website. They steal your information, and bonus, you get nothing that you have ordered for, and Facebook's reputation goes down. So Facebook had to make huge swathing changes. Google did the same thing. Google chose to go about it a little bit differently. I kind of liked the way Google chose to go about it, but I'm not saying any of this is wrong. I'm just saying the experience was less than stellar for Facebook. So they have large amounts of people putting in advertisements. We're not talking about, like, for me as a small business owner, I might have, I don't know, 10, 20 clients a month, projects a month, right? If I have a brick and mortar, I might have 500 to 800 people. Okay, that's a stupid number, but just bear with me. Let's go to Facebook and multiply that by 1 million. Imagine 8 million people, or hundreds and thousands of people, slamming in ads, using AI to force more ads in and just cramming it in. So they had to go through complete automation. In fact, they had to go through complete automation on everything. They removed support numbers like everyone else did during COVID because people were just calling and trying to take advantage of the system. And frankly, you really shouldn't be doing that, but nefarious actors exist. In fact, my entire mythos on life is trust God, God will provide, but also protect and guard your heart, and protect and guard your things, and make wise decisions, and don't allow nefarious actors to knock on your door. So Facebook enacted new policies, made sweeping changes with the hope of preventing you from being, taken advantage of, and for you shifting away all your personal information, all of your money over to a nefarious actor who is probably just as broke as you were during COVID. So, long story short, they sent notifications. Now, I'm pretty sure this was mostly due to people who didn't have active accounts. My account wasn't as active as someone else's, and I probably only spent maybe less than $1,000 in total over the ads, so it didn't mean much. But for my business, it meant a whole lot. It's the ability to create and the ability to make, to do future stuff. And to be honest, not having access to Facebook and Instagram really put me in a tailspin and not in a good place. And I found all this out during December. That sucks. It really does. Now, here's the story. I found it in December, ready to launch, build stuff, August, September, October, building, rapid building. And then finally, I'm ready to release marketing. And so I go and build ads. I go LinkedIn. I first try Facebook, and Facebook tells me I'm banned. So I contact their support, and their support directs me to follow certain steps. I go to follow those steps, and apparently there's no request review option, because apparently I missed a window. And they had no idea what it was. And frankly, they did all sorts of weird things, like asking me to create a new account. Don't do that. Asking me to verify as a politician who can run campaign ads. That was weird. And then I had to get Notary of Republic to sign things. And at the end of the day, after lots of Facebook going back and forth with their support staff, and I have screenshots and screenshots and screenshots and screenshots, and at the end of the day, I get a call from Facebook. Like, I couldn't find Facebook. Like, I tried to fake what Mark Zuckerberg's email was, what the CEO's email was, CFO. Like, I tried to email anyone and everyone from @facebook.com or from one of the other emails that people had been saying was legit on Reddit. They weren't legit, I want you to know. But eventually, my banging on the door produced a result, not one I liked. The customer representative from Facebook, she probably introduced herself as a sales manager or regional manager or something along those lines, told me that she was very sorry to hear what was going on with my account. And she was also very saddened to hear that it happened. And she said that I was the exception, not the rule. And unfortunately, she couldn't do anything. Now, as a database engineer and a programmer, I completely understand that you can do something. It's a SQL string. It's a SQL query, or it's a no-JSON query, or it's easy to turn on and off a feature. Unless, of course, you have to do grand encryptions, but she pretty much told me that she can't do anything, and my account would be locked forever. So I went on Reddit, did the research, did more research, dug and dug and dug, and someone somewhere said I should contact the district attorney's office, but I didn't know how to do that, and frankly, I didn't know if that would cost me money. I didn't know. So I moved on. We'll get back to that. Okay, so I tried to find nonprofit lawyers, I tried to find lawyers, I tried to find anyone that will take this case, and I interview people. Nope, we're not. Facebook, nope, not taking it. Nope, not taking it. Nope, not taking it. And I'm going and scrolling for Reddit and scrolling through things, and then I find out that there's this new privacy board mandate from the federal government that requires Facebook to have procedures in place that they do for everyone unilaterally and can't be overwritten. And that's because apparently they lost the lawsuit, or that was their terms of agreement or something. And so this new privacy board makes it almost impossible for you to get around it. At least that was how I understood it. To be honest, it was all confusing. And maybe I'll drop the website down link, but frankly, I want to put all this behind me because it's now fixed. Every few months, I'd try to go in, blocked. I'd try again, calling, emailing, support, and all that kind of stuff. And eventually, I think they just disabled my support access, all in all. Or frankly, they probably did unilaterally, because why would you want support for Facebook? 8 billion people all calling you at once? No, thank you. And to be honest, chatbots suck unilaterally. Sorry. Any event, at the end of the day, finally, about 3 to 4 months ago, I read somewhere that it worked, contacting district attorneys. I had redone the Reddit post and nobody had responded and nobody was giving me advice. And so I decided, okay, I'm going to call or go to the district attorney's website. Go to the district attorney's website and I call them up and they tell me to file a complaint, and I file a complaint. I had screenshots, please take screenshots of everything, and I had notes and all that kind of stuff, and I had to declare an amount of money that this stuff cost me, and so I went smaller when I really should have said a larger number, but frankly, it's all public record, and so I was like, I don't know what to put here, and I'm not a legal professional, and even though I filed for my trademark, that was a lot of studying, and to be honest, I didn't have the time nor desire to do more studying on district attorney stuff. Frankly, I was already upset about the whole scenario. So, upload all my screenshots, send it away, don't get a response right away. I had to call them, and then they finally, okay, they were like, yeah, we received your request, but we need this information for you. And I sent it to them, called them again, and verified the information. Apparently, my driver's license is now part of public record. Yay! About 60 days later, I went on their website to check in on the status, because they give you a tracking receipt, which is great. I love those for things. You'd be able to go in, copy your government report number or whatever it is, and be able to get a response. Yes! Awesome! Super excited. And I got no response. In fact, they literally was not updated on the database, and so I had to call them. No one responded. And I sent an email, and no one responded. I sent an email twice. I think a response back and said, yes, they had a response, actually, and we know it's been over 60 days, but they actually sent us a response, and they wanted you to send a screenshot of what you're dealing with. Great. Okay, send them a screenshot. And about a day and a half ago, my Facebook account got, I don't know how to, I got a notification saying my Facebook account was hacked and that my two-factor authentication was being reset, and I needed to reset my password. Remember, I don't have the Facebook app, I have the Instagram app, but not the Facebook app. And I also use Apple Cloud Private Relay. That sounds right. And so, I try to do this, try to reset my password, and I'm getting furious. But I'm hearing the voice of the Holy Spirit say, don't get furious. It's fixing it. I'm fixing it. I'm like, great. And I'm mad because I'm trying to fix Facebook. I'm trying to make food at the same time, and I think I burned something. And some reason the code stopped working, because apparently if you get so many codes, because the password wouldn't save right, because it kept saying there was a problem and there wasn't really a problem, but the wrong password would be saved, and I didn't. The Facebook interface for this whole procedure was really lackluster, in my opinion. It was very confusing, and even installing the Facebook, I got Facebook to install and I got it to log in, but I couldn't get the codes to reset the password, and I just had to wait about 6 to 8 hours, and I waited the next day, and then I entered, got in, verified my password, and then I got some weird notifications. My developer account, which got blocked as part of the advertisements accounts, all got restored, and I keep getting these notifications for my developer apps, which I no longer have or use, and I get, hey, read the terms of service, we're updating this in February, blah, 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 boom, 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 boom. I'm like, what? I'm like, oh. I go in, and my Facebook ads is restored. Now, Facebook didn't have an official response. I'm sure they probably sent something to the district attorney's office to let them know, hey, close this account. I got unbanned from Facebook just by filing a complaint with the district attorney's office. I didn't have to go through a legal professional. It's very simple, it's very straightforward, and here's why. When you get a complaint from the district attorney's office, it's like a red flag to them. If they get so many of them, then they'll definitely look into it. And it's not like you're putting them on blast. Let me put it this way. Outside of suing Facebook, calling the district attorney and doing the complaint process was the only step I had left. And I was very happy and excited to know that everything got fixed, even if it was still a frustrating process. I will say, this cloud of, I can't use Facebook anymore and Facebook sucks, has finally been lifted from my soul. Like my new set, I literally just screwed in drywall everywhere. If you see drywall dust on the wall, you're welcome, and I'm sorry, and I'm still figuring out the creative lighting here. It's supposed to be teal, and I don't even think that's a teal. It's supposed to be orange, and that's not even an orange. All of that to say is, you can't be afraid when you're doing anything. The number one problem about, going into sales or going into business for yourself or trying something creative when it comes to execution is being afraid. Being afraid of what a client's going to say, being afraid about doing an action, being afraid because you don't have the knowledge and you don't think it's going to work. Sometimes it's much better to try and fail than not try and never succeed. And I mean that with all respect. If you try and fail, you'll learn from it. If you don't try, you have nothing to learn from, and you'll never succeed. You kind of cut yourself at the knees, and you limit your ability to grow when you get into fear. And fear is more than just being afraid of spiders, being afraid of lightning, being afraid someone's going to shoot you. One of the toughest things to do in business is to get over your hurdle. And I'm not talking about someone else's perceptions, I'm talking about your hurdle. The thing that you deal with the most that you don't even realize you do, that you're okay with someone else taking for you. When you get a salary job, when you get a minimum wage job, that company takes all the risk. And in most cases, you can find a company that you work with, whether it's hourly salary or contracts or whatever, that's stable. But when you go for yourself, you're taking a huge risk. And risk has great reward, but your body can be wired to hate risk, to feel like you're gonna lose out. You can't be afraid of what you're doing. You can't be afraid of taking steps to protect yourself. You can't be afraid of taking steps to protect your business. You can't be afraid to take steps to grow your business. If you can't grow, you'll never succeed. But you can't grow if you don't try. I know we've been doing good on the production front. I know we've been doing good and all that. And, maybe some people think some of the AI stuff I've been talking about is over their heads. And there are a lot of creative stuff I talk about in this podcast. But the most important thing I need to tell you is Facebook advertising and is very cool feature, right? But it was just a story, an example of me encountering my own fear. The result was I missed notification, didn't get an email, didn't get a didn't get a certified letter, just missed notification, got deactivated from something that literally could make me lots of money. Literally was costly to me because that's what I knew and that's what I was comfortable with. And when I lost that, I read that Reddit post that said, hey, I contacted the district attorney's office and filed a complaint and was able to get a response and they were able to work it out. That's all I had to do. But it took me a whole year and a half. The timeline was back in December of last year is when I got blocked. Or the year before that, sorry, is when I got blocked. And it took almost 2 years for me to get unblocked, or when I found out I got blocked. The point is, I knew back then, and I didn't do it because I didn't know how to, because I had some fear about the whatever, and no. God didn't call us to live in fear. God didn't call you to live in fear. And sometimes succeeding in life is about taking steps of faith, not fear. So you don't have to worry about building a business, being a creative, and doing awesome and fantastic things and failing. Because if you do fail, God's got your back. And hopefully you have a support system around you. And even if you don't, like I said earlier, if you fail, great, learn from it. I can't tell you how many multi-billion-dollar company and entrepreneurs out there, millions of entrepreneurs that have passed that, $300, $400, $500 million, year range, have had all these failed businesses and all these failed things because trying and it didn't work, trying and it didn't work, trying and it didn't work, but they kept trying, mostly because they had no choice, but they kept trying. They kept pushing that door, pushing that door, pushing that door. But you can't expand your business, can't grow into the creative person you are without taking risk. Creativity is about risk management, if you will, taking a step of faith and trusting God that He's got your back. I'm the JumpCutKing, and I pray right now that the Lord gives you faith over fear, that He gives you a resounding amount of love to cover you with wisdom, to cover you with peace, to cover you with strength, that He goes before you, makes every crooked path straight, and He gives you the ability to be bold and walk with courage and be strengthened. And in everything you do, I pray that the Lord be with you and that you take your step of faith. We'll see you again right here on the Create Podcast. Again, like, comment, and share, and tell me how you like the pretend new set, I guess.